Let's begin by understanding the core idea behind cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is all about protecting digital systems, such as computers, networks, and data, from unauthorized access and malicious attacks. These attacks can come in many forms, including hackers trying to steal information, malware infecting systems, or attempts to disrupt operations. The goal of cybersecurity is to safeguard sensitive information and ensure that systems continue to function securely and reliably. Now, one of the key roles in this field is the SOC Analyst. A Security Operations Center, or SOC Analyst, is responsible for monitoring network activity in real time. They analyze alerts, detect suspicious behavior, and respond quickly to potential threats. Their job is critical because they are often the first line of defense against cyber attacks. To prepare for this role, training such as the CompTIA Security Plus Bootcamp is essential. This training covers important areas like risk management, incident response, and security best practices. It equips learners with the foundational knowledge and practical skills needed to step into entry-level cybersecurity roles, especially as a SOC analyst. So, in summary, cybersecurity protects systems, SOC analysts defend them in real time, and structured training like security plus helps you build the skills to get started in this career. Cybersecurity is no longer optional. It's a daily necessity. Every single day, cyber attacks are happening across the world. These attacks target sensitive data, financial systems, and critical operations. From small businesses to large organizations, no one is completely immune. This is why cybersecurity is essential, not just for companies, but for individuals as well. For organizations, the importance is even greater. Businesses must invest in strong cybersecurity measures to protect their assets and ensure that their operations continue without disruption. A single successful attack can lead to data loss, financial damage, and even complete system shutdowns. So cybersecurity is not just about protection, it's about business continuity. Another key aspect is trust. Organizations handle sensitive information belonging to customers, clients, and partners. If that information is compromised, trust is broken, and that can be very difficult to recover. Effective cybersecurity helps organizations maintain reliability and credibility. It reassures clients that their data is safe and that the organization takes security seriously. So overall, cybersecurity plays a critical role in protecting systems, maintaining operations, and preserving trust in today's digital world. Let's take a moment to understand the core purpose of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is all about protecting computer systems, networks, and data from digital threats. These threats can include cyber attacks, such as hacking, malware, or phishing, as well as unauthorized access to systems and information. The goal is to ensure that only the right people have access to the right data and that systems remain secure. One of the key objectives of cybersecurity is preventing data breaches. A data breach happens when sensitive information, such as personal data, financial records, or company secrets, is accessed or stolen by unauthorized individuals. Effective cybersecurity measures help prevent this by identifying vulnerabilities, blocking attacks, and monitoring suspicious activity. Another important aspect is ensuring network reliability. Organizations rely heavily on their systems and networks to operate daily. Cybersecurity helps ensure these systems continue to function properly without disruption from attacks or failures. It keeps operations running smoothly, securely, and efficiently. So overall, cybersecurity is not just about stopping attacks. It's about protecting data, maintaining system reliability, and ensuring that digital operations can continue without interruption. Effective cybersecurity helps organizations maintain reliability and credibility. It reassures clients that their data is safe and that the organization takes security seriously. So overall, cybersecurity plays a critical role in protecting systems, maintaining operations, and preserving trust in today's digital world. Before we move further into cybersecurity, it's important to understand three essential terms: threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks. These form the foundation of how we think about security. Let's start with a threat. A threat is any potential danger that could cause harm to a system. This could be a hacker, a piece of malware, or even a malicious insider. The key idea is that a threat has the potential to exploit weaknesses and put data or resources at risk. Next, we have vulnerabilities. A vulnerability is a weakness or gap in a system's security. This could be something like outdated software, weak passwords, or misconfigured settings. On its own, a vulnerability doesn't cause damage, but it creates an opportunity for a threat to act. Finally, we have an attack. An attack occurs when a threat successfully exploits a vulnerability. This can lead to serious consequences such as unauthorized access, data breaches, or disruption of services. So in simple terms, a threat looks for a vulnerability, and when it finds one, it can launch an attack. Understanding this relationship is critical because as a SOC analyst, your role is to detect threats, identify vulnerabilities, and respond to attacks before they cause damage. Let's take a closer look at how security risks actually develop within a system. First, we have threats. Threats are potential dangers, such as hackers, malware, or malicious insiders that are constantly looking for weaknesses in a system. Their goal is to find an entry point they can exploit to gain access or cause harm. Next, we have vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are those weaknesses within a system. These could be things like outdated software, poor configurations, or weak passwords. On their own, vulnerabilities may not cause damage, but once a threat discovers them, they become a serious risk. This is where attacks happen. When a threat successfully identifies and exploits a vulnerability, it can lead to an attack, resulting in unauthorized access, data breaches, or disruption of services. This is why security measures are so important. Strong cybersecurity controls, such as firewalls, monitoring systems, updates, and access controls, help reduce or eliminate vulnerabilities. They also detect and block threats before they can cause damage. So the key idea here is threats are always searching for weaknesses. Vulnerabilities create opportunities, and security measures are what protect your systems from being exploited. Understanding this relationship is essential, especially for a SOC analyst, because your role is to identify risks early and prevent them from turning into real attacks. Let's now look at the cybersecurity process as a life cycle, a continuous flow of events that revolve around protecting a system. At the center of this life cycle is the system itself. The system represents the environment we are trying to protect. This could be a computer, a server, a network, or even an entire organization's infrastructure. Everything in cybersecurity revolves around securing this system from potential threats. Next, we have vulnerabilities. These are weaknesses within the system, such as misconfigurations, outdated software, or weak security controls. If left unaddressed, these vulnerabilities create opportunities for attackers. Then comes the attack and exploitation phase. This is when a threat, like a hacker or malware, identifies a vulnerability and exploits it to gain access or cause harm. This could result in data breaches, system compromise, or service disruption. After that, we move into detection and response. This is where cybersecurity teams, especially SOC analysts, monitor systems for suspicious activity. When an attack is detected, they investigate, respond quickly, and take action to minimize damage and prevent further impact. And it's important to understand that this is a continuous cycle. After responding to an attack, systems are reviewed and improved. New vulnerabilities are identified and the process begins again. So the key takeaway is the system is always the target. Vulnerabilities create risk. Attacks exploit those weaknesses, and detection and response are what protect and recover the system. This life cycle is at the heart of what you'll be doing as a SOC analyst. Let's walk through a real-world example of how a phishing attack happens in practice. It starts with a suspicious email. A user receives an email that looks legitimate. It might appear to come from a trusted company or colleague. However, this email contains a malicious link or attachment designed to trick the user into taking action. Next is the malware download stage. If the user clicks the link or opens the attachment, they may unknowingly download malware onto their computer. At this point, the system is compromised and the attacker may gain access or begin executing malicious activities. Then comes the security alert. As the malware starts interacting with the system, for example, communicating with an external server or behaving abnormally, security tools detect this unusual activity. An alert is then triggered and sent to the IT or security team, such as a SOC Analyst, to investigate and respond to the potential threat. This example highlights an important point. The attack doesn't just happen at the email stage, it progresses through multiple steps, and detection often occurs after the system begins to behave abnormally. Understanding this flow is essential because as a SOC Analyst, you will often be responding to alerts that come after the initial action has already taken place. Let's now look at some of the most common locations where cyber attacks occur. Understanding these areas is important because it helps you recognize where risks are most likely to come from. First, we have email threats. Email is one of the most common entry points for cyber attacks. Attackers often send phishing emails containing malicious links or attachments. These emails are designed to trick users into clicking, downloading, or revealing sensitive information. Because email is used daily by individuals and organizations, it remains a major target for attackers. Next are website vulnerabilities. Websites can sometimes host harmful content or contain security weaknesses. For example, a compromised website might deliver malware, or a poorly secured site could expose user data. Even visiting a malicious or fake website can put your system at risk. Then we have malicious downloads. Downloading files from untrusted or unknown sources is a common way malware spreads. This could be software, documents, or media files that appear legitimate but contain hidden threats. Once downloaded and opened, these files can infect the system and compromise data. Finally, there is network targeting. Networks themselves can be attacked through unauthorized access, interception, or monitoring of traffic. Attackers may try to exploit weak security settings or intercept data being transmitted across the network. This is why strong security protocols and monitoring are essential. The key takeaway is this: cyber attacks can happen in multiple places: email, websites, downloads, and networks. As a SOC analyst, your role is to understand these entry points, monitor activity across them, and detect any signs of suspicious behavior before they lead to serious incidents. Now let's focus on the role of a SOC analyst and how they protect systems from the common attack locations we just discussed. One of the primary responsibilities of a SOC analyst is infrastructure monitoring. This means continuously observing IT systems, networks, and devices to ensure everything is operating normally. SOC analysts monitor logs, alerts, and network activity in real time to detect any unusual behavior. Their goal is to maintain the integrity and security of the organization's infrastructure at all times. Next is threat detection. SOC analysts use specialized tools such as CMSIEM platforms, along with analytical techniques to identify suspicious activities. This could include unusual login attempts, unexpected network traffic, or communication with unknown systems. The key here is to quickly recognize patterns that indicate a potential threat. Then comes incident response. Once a threat is identified, SOC analysts must act quickly. They investigate the issue, determine its severity, and take steps to contain it. This might involve isolating affected systems, blocking malicious IP addresses, or escalating the issue to higher-level teams. The goal is to minimize damage and prevent the threat from spreading. So in summary, SOC analysts monitor systems continuously, detect threats using tools and analysis, and respond rapidly to protect the organization. This cycle of monitoring, detecting, and responding is what forms the core of effective cybersecurity defense. Let's now examine one of the most important skills for a SOC analyst: analytical thinking. This skill is what allows you to move beyond just looking at data and actually understand what is happening. It starts with questioning and assessment. As an analyst, you should never assume that everything is normal. Instead, you constantly ask, is this activity expected? Does this match normal behavior? You use available data, logs, and context to assess the situation. This questioning mindset is the foundation of effective analysis. Next is pattern recognition. SOC analysts look at patterns over time. They compare current activity with what is considered normal behavior. For example, is there an unusual spike in traffic? Are there repeated login attempts? Is a system communicating with an unknown location? Anything that deviates from the normal pattern could indicate a potential threat. Finally, we have deciding the next steps. Once you've assessed the situation and identified something unusual, you need to decide what to do. This could include investigating further, escalating the issue to a senior analyst, taking action to block or contain the threat. The key is making informed decisions based on evidence. So, in summary, a good SOC analyst questions what they see, recognizes patterns and anomalies, and takes the right action based on their analysis. This is the mindset that transforms data into real security decisions. Let's now look at how cybersecurity risks affect the systems we use every day. First, consider communication systems such as email platforms. Email is widely used for both personal and professional communication, but it is also a common target for cyber attacks. These platforms can be vulnerable to data breaches, phishing attacks, and unauthorized access. If compromised, sensitive information such as personal messages, business data, or login credentials can be exposed, affecting both privacy and data integrity. Next, we have financial management systems like banking apps. These systems are especially attractive to attackers because they involve money and sensitive financial data. Threats such as unauthorized access, account takeovers, and fraud can directly impact users' finances. A single breach could result in financial loss and a loss of trust in the platform. Finally, let's look at transportation systems. Public transportation networks, such as trains, buses, and traffic systems, rely heavily on digital infrastructure. Cyber risks in these systems can affect safety, scheduling, and reliability. For example, disruptions or system failures could impact daily commuting and even passenger safety. The key takeaway is this: cybersecurity is not just about computers. It affects the systems we rely on every day. As a SOC analyst, your role is to understand these risks and help protect these systems from potential threats. Let's quickly recap what we've covered in this lesson. You've learned that cybersecurity is about protecting systems, networks, and data from threats. We explored how threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks are connected, and how these risks affect everyday systems like email, banking, and transportation. We also introduced the role of a SOC analyst, monitoring systems, detecting suspicious activity, and responding to threats. This is the foundation of your cybersecurity journey. Now, in the next lesson, we'll go deeper and look at how systems communicate over networks and how attackers use that communication to launch attacks. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content with others who want to get into cybersecurity. Lesson 1.2 is coming next. I'll see you there.